top, you'll see the motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. This design remained on the penny until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. But for collectors, the wheat designs always carried that old world charm and historical connection. So why is the 1925 wheat penny so special today? Well, one reason is age. Think about it. This coin is almost 100 years old. Many were lost, destroyed, or heavily worn down through circulation. The ones that survived in good condition are now treasures. Even a common circulated 1925 wheat penny, one that shows some wear and tear, can still fetch a few cents to $1. But when you start looking at coins in higher grades, that's where the magic happens. A 1925 wheat penny in fine to very fine condition can range anywhere from a couple of dollars up to $10. But when you move into extremely fine or uncirculated condition, the values begin to climb dramatically. A bright red uncirculated 1925 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved carefully for decades, can easily sell for $42 or even more, depending on demand and the rarity of that specific mint mark. For example, the San Francisco mint mark, the 1925 S penny, is considered scarcer and often more valuable than the regular Philadelphia strike. Collectors are always on the lookout for strong strikes, bold details in Lincoln's hair and beard, and coins that have maintained that reddish copper luster. Those pennies are like gems in the coin world. And let's not forget error coins. Sometimes minting mistakes, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, can make a coin extremely rare and desirable. A 1925 penny with such errors could skyrocket well past the standard $42 value. Now imagine this. You are going through an old collection, maybe from a grandparent's drawer or a forgotten jar of coins in the attic, and suddenly you spot a wheat penny with the date 1925. At first glance, it might just look like an old coin, but once you realize its potential, your heart starts to race. That small coin in your hand is not just a cent. It is a piece of American history, a survivor of nearly a century, and possibly a mini treasure worth far more than you expect. The beauty of coin collecting is that it's not just about money. It's about holding history, connecting with the past, and appreciating the craftsmanship that went into these tiny pieces of art. The 1925 wheat penny reminds us of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy. The skill of the engraver Victor David Brenner, who designed the coin, and the story of an America that was growing and changing in the 1920s.so. The next time you come across a penny, don't dismiss it as just 1 cent. Check the date. Examine the details. And you might be lucky enough to discover a 1925 wheat penny. Whether it's worth a few dollars or a full $42 in mint condition, the thrill of finding one is priceless. Collectors and investors know that coins like these will only grow in historical and sentimental value as time goes on. Remember, there are fewer of them every year, and that scarcity is what drives collectors to pay higher prices. If you're thinking of starting your own collection, the wheat pennies are a perfect place to begin. Affordable for beginners yet rich in history, they are a gateway into the world of numismatics. The 1925 penny in particular offers an exciting balance between accessibility and collectible value. So there you have it. The story of the 1925 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that is worth much more than its face value and continues to capture the imagination of coin enthusiasts around the world. From its humble beginnings in the roaring 20s to its place today as a collector's gem, it is a coin that proves big history can come in small packages. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and value, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another coin treasure story. And let me know in the comments, have you ever found a 1925 wheat penny? Or what is the oldest penny you've ever discovered in your change? Thank you for watching. And remember, every coin has a story. And your next big discovery could be just 1 penny away. Would you like me to also create a shorter, high-energy version of this script designed for viral-style YouTube videos, or do you prefer only these very long, detailed scripts? Today, we are talking about a coin that many people overlook, but collectors know very well. It is the famous 1950-60 Lincoln wheat cent, one of the last years of the wheat-back pennies. Believe it or not, this small 1-cent coin can be worth far more than its face value, and some examples even fetch premium prices in the collector's market. Stick with me until the end, because you are going to be amazed at how much these coins can be worth, how to identify them, and why collectors pay so much money for them. Let's begin with the history of this coin. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series began in 1909, when the United States Mint decided to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the very first time a real person, an actual historical figure, appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Up until that time, coins mostly showed symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. When Victor David Brenner designed this coin, he gave us a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side, which still remains today, over a century later. On the reverse, he placed 2 wheat stalks, which is why we call them wheat pennies. These simple but elegant wheat ears represented prosperity and abundance in America. Now, by the year 1956, the wheat penny was in its final years of production. In 1959, the Mint would replace the reverse design with the Lincoln Memorial. So the 1956 penny is part of those final chapters of the wheat series. The Denver Mint produced a massive number of coins that year. In fact, more than 1 billion 1956 pennies were struck. That means this coin is not the rarest by mintage numbers. However, condition, errors, and collector demand make it stand out. And even today, coin collectors actively search for the highest quality examples. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1956 penny. On the obverse side, you see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head is the motto, "In God we trust." To the left side of the portrait is the word liberty, and to the right is the date 1956 with the small demon mark just below it, representing that the coin was minted in Denver. On the reverse side, the words 1 cent appear in bold lettering at the center, with the United States of America just below it. Around the edges you see those iconic 2 wheat stalks, and at the very top sits the motto "E pluribus unum," which means out of many, one. So now you may be asking, if over 1 billion of these were made, how can a 1956 wheat penny be worth big money? The answer lies in condition, errors, and rarity within quality. Circulated pennies, the ones you find in pocket change or tucked away in jars, are usually worth just a few cents, maybe 10 or 20 cents to collectors. However, when a coin is found in brilliant uncirculated condition, with sharp details and its original red luster, the value can climb much higher. Collectors grade these coins on the Sheldon scale, from poor 1 to mint state 70. A 1950-60 wheat penny in MS 65 red condition can easily sell for around $40 or more in today's market. Some even go for hundreds if the coin has superb eye appeal or full original shine. But that's not all. The real treasures are the error coins. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during production, and collectors absolutely love them because they are unique and much rarer than regular strikes. For the 1950-60 penny, there are known varieties such as double dies, repunched mint marks, and die cracks. For example, a double die error can show extra lines on the lettering or numbers, creating a shadow-like effect. A repunched mint mark means the D was stamped more than once, leaving a visible overlap. These error coins can fetch very high prices, sometimes hundreds of dollars, depending on the visibility of the error and the condition of the coin. Now let's talk about the market value today. While an average circulated 1950-60 wheat penny might only bring a small premium above face value, uncirculated examples and high grades are in demand. Coin collectors want coins with full red luster, no scratches, and strong details. A perfectly preserved 1950-60 penny graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC can be worth $42 or even more. And when errors come into play, the price can rise dramatically. Some rare error varieties have been auctioned for hundreds or even thousands. Think about it for a moment. A penny you could easily overlook and change. A penny that looks ordinary could actually be hiding in plain sight and be worth a small fortune. That is the magic of coin collecting. It turns every pocket full of change into a potential treasure hunt. So what should you do if you have a 1950-60 penny? First, check its condition. Does it still have a shiny red color found from circulation? Look closely at the date and mint mark. Sometimes a magnifying glass will help you spot double numbers or repunched D. If you find an unusual variety, or if the coin looks pristine, it may be worth submitting to a professional grading service. That certification can confirm its grade and dramatically increase its market value. In conclusion, the 1950-60 Lincoln wheat cent is not just another old penny. It is a piece of American history, a reminder of the final years of the wee penny design, and a coin that can still surprise collectors with its hidden value. Whether worth a few cents, $42, or much more if you find a rare error, this little copper coin deserves attention. So keep your eyes open. Search through those jars of coins at home, and you might just discover that you are holding a valuable piece of numismatic history. If you enjoyed learning about the 1950-60 wheat penny and its potential value, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a future treasure hunting adventure. Share this with your friends and family, because who knows, they might have one of these pennies tucked away in a drawer. Remember, every coin has a story, and some of them are worth far more than you could ever imagine. Would you like me to also expand this script with extra storytelling style lines? Like imagining someone finding a 1950-60 penny in pocket change today and realizing it's worth $42 or more? That would make it even longer and more engaging for YouTube. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of American coinage and bringing you the full story of one of the most collectible and historically loved coins, the 1957 wheat penny. This 1-cent coin may look simple to the untrained eye, but when you uncover its history, its background, and its hidden market value, you realize this coin is a true gem from the golden era of United States coin production. And believe me, you want to stay with me until the very end, because the story behind this penny and its potential worth in today's market is going to surprise you. The 1957 wheat penny is part of the legendary Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first American coin to feature a real person, not a symbolic figure, which was a major shift in U.S. coin design. The wheat ears on the reverse side were chosen to symbolize prosperity and growth, making it not only a tribute to Lincoln, but also to the hardworking American spirit during that time. Now, fast forward to 1957. By this year, the wheat penny design was nearing the end of its run, because in 1959 the design changed to the famous Lincoln Memorial reverse. That means the 1957 penny is one of the final coins of the beloved wheat series, which makes it special among collectors today. The 1957 penny struck at the Denver Mint, marked with a small D mint mark under the date, saw a massive mintage of over 1 billion coins. That's right, billions were struck, which makes people think these coins are too common to be valuable. But here's the thing. While many were produced, finding them today in excellent condition, especially those preserved straight from rolls or in uncirculated states, is a completely different story. And that is where the value begins to rise. The design itself features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the word liberty to the left and the motto "In God We Trust" above. On the reverse, you find the two classic wheat stalks curving along the sides with the bold words "1 cent" and United States of America in the center, and of course E pluribus unum on top. Simple, powerful, and iconic. Now let's talk about value, because I know that's what excites every coin collector, treasure hunter, and history buff watching this right now. The average circulated 1957 Dewey penny might only fetch a few cents to $1 in common condition. But when you step into the world of high-grade uncirculated examples, the market changes completely. A well-preserved 1957 D penny in brilliant red condition with full original luster can easily bring in much more. In fact, coins graded by professional services like PCGS and NGC have sold for impressive amounts, depending on grade and IAPL.AS of today's market value. A typical circulated 1957 Dewey penny trading for around $42 when it is in ultra gem condition or when it is preserved in high-end collections. That's a big jump from just a face value of 1 cent. Imagine hold hand that could actually bring you $42 or more. That's the return on investment that would make. But here is the real treasure hunting thrill. Errors and varieties exist in the 1957 Dewey pennies. Collectors are always on the lookout for double die obverse, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes. Any of these error coins can multiply the value dramatically. A rare double die version or a dramatic off-center strike could easily sell for hundreds of dollars or even more, depending on rarity and demand. The story of the 1957 D penny is also tied to nostalgia. Millions of Americans remember seeing wheat pennies in their change as kids. remind people of simpler times, of collecting coins in jars, of going through pocket change looking for wheatbacks, and of the thrill of finding one more to add to a little cardboard folder. That connection to history and memory is a big reason why these coins still hold value and charm today. So how do you know if your 1957 penny is valuable? The first step is to check the condition. If your coin is heavily worn, it might be worth just a few cents over face value. But if it has strong details, original red luster, no scratches, and it looks as if it came straight from the mint yesterday, then you could be looking at a coin worth dozens of dollars. If you suspect you have a high-grade example, it's always worth getting it professionally graded, because the difference between a coin valued at just $1 and one valued at over $40 could come down to its condition grade. Another tip for collectors is to carefully check the mint mark. The Denver mint mark was sometimes repunched, creating collectible varieties. Look closely under magnification, because if you discover one of these varieties, your coin could be worth far more than the average market price. The 1957 wheat penny is more than just a coin. It is a piece of American history, a closing chapter of the wheat penny series, and a timeless tribute to Abraham Lincoln. Collectors today are not just buying metal, they are buying a story, a symbol, and a piece of the past that still carries value decades later. So whether you are a seasoned coin collector, someone just starting out, or even a curious person who happened to find a wheat penny in their change, the 1957 penny is a reminder that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest stories. And in this case, a tiny coin with a face value of 1 cent can carry a market value of $2 and possibly much more if you are lucky enough to own a rare variety or a gem condition example. As always, I encourage you to check your coins, treasure the ones you have, and keep your eyes open. Because in the world of coin collecting, history and value are often hiding right in the palm of your hand. Thank you so much for joining me in this deep dive into the history and value of the 1957 wheat penny. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss more coin collecting secrets, values, and stories from history. Share this video with friends who love coins or who might have have a jar of pennies lying around. Who knows? They might be sitting on a hidden fortune without even realizing it. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and never stop appreciating the history inside every coined out script. And do you want me to also expand this into an even longer version with extra historical details about Lincoln's cents, mint history, and record auction sales, so it fills up like a 20 to 20 YouTube. Welcome back to the channel JF Coin, where we uncover the hidden treasures of United States coins that might be lying in your pocket change, tucked away in an old drawer, or stored in a family coin collection. Today we are diving into a fascinating piece of American history, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny. This is not just an ordinary 1-cent coin. It's part of the legendary wheat penny series that collectors around the world chase after because of its beauty, history, and value. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why the 1954 penny stands out, how much it is worth today, and what makes some of these small copper coins worth much more than face value. Let's start with a little bit of background. The Lincoln wheat penny series was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first United States coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic image of liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse or front of the coin shows the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln that we all know today. On the reverse, instead of the Lincoln Memorial we see on modern cents, the wheat penny proudly displays two stalks of wheat curving along the sides with the words 1 cent and United States of America in the center. That wheat design gave these coins their famous nickname, wheat pennies. Now, focusing specifically on the 1954 wheat penny. The letter D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck. The year 1954 was an interesting one in U.S. coinage because the United States was producing large quantities of pennies to meet demand. In fact, the Denver Mint struck well over 251 million wheat pennies in that year alone. Because of this high mintage, many people might assume that a 1954 penny is common and not valuable. But the truth is, condition and rarity of special varieties make all the difference when it comes to collecting data. If you find a circulated 1954 penny, meaning it has been used in everyday transactions and has visible wear, its value usually starts at just a few cents. However, collectors are always hunting for coins in pristine condition. A coin graded as mint state, which means it has never been used in circulation and still has its original shine, can be worth far more. At lower uncirculated grades, the value ranges around a few dollars, but at the highest, with no spots, scratches, or blemishes, the price skyrockets. In fact, an ultra-quality 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny has been known to reach current market values of up to $42 or even more, depending on rarity, demand, and eye appeal. But wait, that's not all. There are also error coins and varieties that can send the value even higher. Collectors love coins that have minting mistakes like double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets. A double die is when the coin shows doubling on the letters or numbers. A repunched mint mark happens when the letter D on the coin was stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating a shadow-like effect. These kinds of unique features make coins stand out in the collector's market and can push values well beyond the standard price guides. If you come across one of these rare errors on a 1954 D penny, you could be holding a coin worth far more than $42. So how can you tell if your 1954 D penny is valuable? First, look at its overall condition. Does it still have sharp tails on Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat? Is the wheat design on the reverse still bold and visible? Does the coin still show original mint luster, the shiny finish it had when it was first struck? The sharper the details and the brighter the color, the higher the value. Second, examine the mint mark. Look closely at the D. Is it clear, bold, and well struck, or does it show signs of doubling or repunching? Finally, check for any unusual features or striking errors. If you're unsure, it's always worth getting the coin professionally graded by a company like PCGS or NGC, because certified coins often sell for much higher prices on the open market. Now let's talk about the history behind this coin. The wheat penny series ran from 1909 to 1958, meaning the 1954 D coin was one of the later issues before the design switched over to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. This makes every wheat penny feel like a piece of American history, a reminder of the mid-20th 20th century, growth and change in the United States. The 1954 D penny is especially interesting because it reflects post-World War II America, a time when millions of these coins were needed to keep up with booming economic activity. Today, collectors not only prize the 1954 D penny for its beauty and history, but also because wheat pennies are no longer made. Every year, more and more of them are lost, damaged, or melted down for their copper content, which means surviving examples in high grade become rarer with time. That is why the value continues to rise. A coin that was worth just 1 cent in 1954 can now fetch more than 40 times its face value in today's market. That is a remarkable journey for such a small piece of metal dot if you're lucky enough to come across a 1954 D Lincoln wheat penny in your change or in a collection. Make sure you take a closer look. Even if it looks ordinary at first glance, you might be holding a hidden treasure. Some of the rarest coins ever discovered were found by accident in jars, old piggy banks, or handed down from grandparents who never knew the value of what they had .so to wrap it up. The 1954 D wheat penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of American history, a favorite among collectors, and in the right condition, it can be worth much more than its face value. From a simple 1 cent coin struck in Denver to a collector's prize worth up to $42 or more, this little penny tells a big story. If you enjoyed learning about the 1954 D Ultra Lincoln wheat penny and its fascinating history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into rare and valuable coins. Who knows, the next coin we talk about could be sitting in your pocket right now. You want me to make the script even longer by adding a dramatic storytelling intro, like describing someone finding in change at a grocery store and then realizing it's worth money. Today we are diving deep into the world of American history, numismatics, and hidden treasures that might just be sitting in your pocket change or coin jar right now. We are talking about the legendary 1925 Lincoln wheat penny. This tiny 1 cent coin, minted nearly a century ago, carries with it not only the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, but also a surprising market value that can make coin collectors treasure hunters' eyes light up. Yes, The 1925 wheat penny may look small and ordinary, but some of these coins can be worth far more than their face value, with certain pieces reaching an incredible market worth of around $42 or even more depending on their condition and rarity. So let's explore its fascinating history, unique features, and the reasons why collectors hunt for this coin with such passion. Let's start by stepping back into history. 1925, America was living in what historians call the Roaring Twenties. It was an era of jazz, flappers, automobiles, and incredible cultural change. In the middle of all this energy, the United States Mint continued to produce the iconic Lincoln wheat penny, designed back in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This design replaced the older Indian head cent, and it quickly became a symbol of America's admiration for Lincoln. The obverse of the coin, which is the front side, features the old portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Above his head, you'll notice the famous motto, "In God we trust." To the left, the word liberty proudly sits, and to the right is the date 1925. If you look closely at some examples, you may find different mint marks, and that is where things get really interesting. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins without a mint mark, while Denver used the letter D, and San Francisco used the letter S. Each of these variations affects the coin's rarity and value today. Now let's flip the coin to the reverse, which proudly displays two wheat stalks on each side, arching around the words "1 cent" and "United States of America." This is why collectors call them wheat pennies or wheat backs. At the very top, you'll see the motto "E pluribus unum," which means out of many, one. This design remained on the penny until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. But for collectors, the wheat design has always carried that old world charm and historical connection. So why is the 1925 wheat penny so special today? Well, one reason is age. Think about it. This coin is almost 100 years old. Many were lost, destroyed, or heavily worn down through circulation. The ones that survived in good condition are now treasures. Even a common circulated 1925 wheat penny, one that shows some wear and tear, can still fetch a few cents to $1. But when you start looking at coins in higher grades, that's where the magic 1925 wheat penny and fine to very fine condition can range anywhere from a couple of dollars up to $10. But when you move into extremely fine or condition, the values begin to climb dramatically. A bright red uncirculated 1925 Lincoln wheat penny, preserved carefully for decades, can easily sell for $42 or even more depending on demand and the rarity of that specific mint mark. For example, the San Francisco mint mark, the 1925 S penny, is considered scarcer and often more valuable than the regular Philadelphia strike. Collectors are always on the lookout for strong strikes, bold details in Lincoln's hair and beard, and coins that have maintained that reddish copper luster. Those pennies are like gems in the coin world. And let's not forget error coins. Sometimes minting mistakes, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, can make a coin extremely rare and desirable. A 1925 penny with such errors could skyrocket well past the standard $42 value. Now imagine this. You are going through an old collection, maybe from a grandparent's drawer or a forgotten jar of coins in the attic, and suddenly you spot a wheat penny with the date 1925. At first glance, it might just look like an old coin, but once you realize its potential, your heart starts to race. That small coin in your hand is not just a cent, it is a piece of American history, a survivor of nearly a century, and possibly a mini treasure worth far more than you expect. The beauty of coin collecting is that it's not just about money. It's about holding history, connecting with the past, and appreciating the craftsmanship that went into these tiny pieces of art. The 1925 wheat penny reminds us of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy, the skill of the engraver Victor David Brenner who designed the coin, and the story of an America that was growing and changing in the 1920s. So the next time you come across a penny, don't dismiss it as just 1 cent. Check the date. Examine the details. And you might be lucky enough to discover a 1925 wheat penny. Whether it's worth a few dollars or a full $42 in mint condition, the thrill of finding one is priceless. Collectors and investors know that coins like these will only grow in historical and sentimental value as time goes on. Remember, there are fewer of them, every year, and that scarcity is what drives collectors to pay higher prices. If you're thinking of starting your own collection, the wheat pennies are a perfect place to begin. Affordable for beginners yet rich, are a gateway into the world of numismatics. The 1925 penny in particular offers an exciting balance between accessibility and collectible value. So there you have it. The story of the 1925 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that is worth much more than its face value and continues to capture the imagination of coin enthusiasts around the world. From its humble beginnings in the Roaring Twenties to its place today as a collector's gem, it is a coin that proves big history can come in small packages. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin history and value, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another coin treasure story. And let me know in the comments, have you ever found a 1925 wheat, or what is the oldest penny you've ever discovered in exchange? Thank you for watching. And remember, every coin has a story. And your next big discovery could be just one penny away. Would you like me to also create a shorter, high-energy version of this script designed for viral-style YouTube videos, or do you prefer only these very long, detailed scripts? Today, we are talking about a coin that many people overlook, but collectors know very well. It is the famous 1950-60 Lincoln wheat cent, one of the last years of the wheat-backed pennies. Believe it or not, this small 1-cent coin can be worth far more than its face value, and some examples even fetch premium prices in the collector's market. Stick with me until the end, because you are going to be amazed at how much these coins can be worth, how to identify them, and why collectors pay so much money for them. Let's begin with the history of this coin. The Lincoln wheat cent series began in 1909, when the United States decided to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the very first time a real person, an actual historical figure, appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Up until that time, coins mostly show symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. When Victor David Brenner designed this coin, he gave us a portrait of Lincoln on the obverse side, which still remains today, over a century later. On the reverse, he placed 2 wheat stalks, which is why we call them wheat pennies. These simple but elegant wheat ears represented prosperity and abundance in America. Now, by the year 1956, the wheat penny was in its final years of production. In 1959, the mint would replace the reverse design with the Lincoln Memorial. So the 1956 penny is part of those final chapters of the wheat series. The Denver Mint produced a massive number of coins that year. In fact, more than 1 billion 1956 pennies were struck. That means this coin is not the rarest by mintage numbers. However, condition, errors, and collector demand make it stand out. And even today, coin collectors actively search for the highest quality examples. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1956 penny. On the obverse side, you see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right. Above his head is the motto, "In God we trust." To the left side of the portrait is the word liberty, and to the right is the date 1956 with the small demon marked just below it, representing that the coin was minted in Denver. On the reverse side, the words 1 cent appear in bold lettering at the center, with the United States of America just below it. Around the edges, you see those iconic 2 wheat stalks, and at the very top sits the motto "E pluribus unum," which means out of many, one. So now you may be asking, if over 1 billion of these were made, how can a 1956 wheat penny be worth big money? The answer lies in condition, errors, and rarity within quality. Circulated pennies, the ones you find in pocket change or tucked away in jars, are usually worth just a few cents, maybe 10 or 20 cents to collectors. However, when a coin is in uncirculated condition, with sharp details and its original red luster, the value can climb much higher. Collectors grade these coins on the Sheldon scale, from poor 1 to mint state 70.